Oh, fantastic.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We have to concentrate and attempt to speak English right now.
Yes,
yes. Today is the 11th of January, the year of our Lord 2024, and we're here all at once sort of joyful and sad at the same time. We could mess around and say all sorts of clever things, but it doesn't seem just, and all these wonderful people are waiting for us right now. So
let's go for it.
So let's go for it. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Phillip Noyce, Vincent Ward, and Temi Lopez, our great friends from back in the day in Los Angeles. Welcome, ladies and germs. I sort of feel like I should be doing this. There we go. And the real reason that we are here today is the reason that we all know each other is because of Mickey Cottrell, and this seemed like a wonderful excuse to meet up again. We got Philip. You're in Australia, correct?
Mickey Cottrell passed away in some days, and Philip had the opportunity also to be there on the homage that they did in LA, and we want to know exactly everything about that because we couldn't come. But yes, it's the time to remember to explain our experiences with him, and you know, a little homage from these four foolish people that are here.
I got a question. Who knew Mickey first out of all of you?
I think Philip and me. No, Philip?
I knew Mickey through you. No, I knew you through.
Yes.
So that's
that calm, I think it was, no? Phillip Noyce.
1984.
1994. That was you, Vincent?
No.
1984.
Ah, so you were the first then.
Yes, because he was the publicist on my film at Cannes, my first film at Cannes, Vigil. And so, he helped promote it.
And then you introduced him to Philip?
I think maybe not at Cannes. Maybe when we went to LA. I don't think I'm not sure that he was at Cannes, but maybe when we went to LA. And then that friendship continued.
Aha. And then you, Philip.
What about you, Philip?
How you contact Mickey?
Well, he came up to me at a retrospective of Australian cinema at UCLA. in the 1980s sometime, before Dead Calm, when we were showing films from Kennedy Miller that we'd made before Dead Calm.
Before.
Long form television, which we made with George Miller and Terry Hayes and Byron Kennedy at Kennedy Miller Studio in Sydney. UCLA had a retrospective, and Mickey approached me afterwards. We made friends there. And then when I came back I came back with Dead Calm, Mickey, he made me famous overnight.
What do you mean he made you famous?
He did make me famous. He got New York Times, LA Times, blah, 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 whatever that magazine was, Empire or whatever it was, or that Rupert Murdoch owned, what was it called? I forget. He got me all these stories, and suddenly, and then that meant that I suddenly got into the studio system, and you know what Mickey did? He fired me. I said, hang on, you made me into this,
monster.
This, studio monster.
How did he fire you?
Not making the films that I think you're capable of, and I'm not interested in those movies.
What?
Said,
yes, he was like that. Yeah.
I said, hang on. I'm prepared to pay, the monthly stipend. I don't care. Come back when you make something good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Exactly.
Yeah. He wasn't publicizing everything. He was very picky about the things that he liked.
Very picky, yeah. Not good enough, he'd say to me. No, don't bring that around to my place. Nevertheless, he would let me come round to his place, often to eat bad cooking with his flatmate, Vincent Ward. I can remember one occasion we went around to have some food, and we waited for an hour and a half. Nothing was happening. And then the two of them came out with this burnt, shriveled up piece of meat and stuff and put it down and said it's ready. I don't know what was going on there.
I remember Mickey and I cooking at because I lived upstairs from Mickey. I lived upstairs from Mickey, in the apartment upstairs. So I remember a barbecue where Mickey and I were trying to handle this little barbecue, and it was only a tiny space outside at the back, so it was quite dangerous if you had a barbecue because the building could catch fire. And there were huge flames about 1.5 meters high coming off the cooking fat that I don't know whether there's such a word as misadventurously, but that sort of describes it. And just the two of us trying to get the meat out and trying to get the fire down, and everyone sort of, Hollywood sort of people enjoying the spectacle of the possibility that the house might burn down because they didn't even have to pay for that. So that was like an added bonus.
Yeah, and what people don't realize in Los Angeles, you start one fire, the entire thing will go up.
You may have hidden in the house, in the apartment.
Anyway, Mickey was finally. I came back 10 years later with the film, and he said, "This I will represent." That was The Quiet American, and I said, "Well, look, it's no issue representing it. I can't pay you anything because Harvey Weinstein bought the film and he's decided not to play it. He's not going to release it." And Mickey said, "Okay, wait, let me put my thinking cap on." So 2 weeks later, he rings me up. That was when people used to use phones. And he says, "Monsters Ball." I said, "What? Monsters Ball?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Well, remember the joke they made about the movie starring the Weinstein brothers that it should, at the last Oscars, that it should be called Monsters Ball?" I said, "Oh, yeah. He said, "That's what we're going to do. I'm going to go to all the critics in America and convince them that the monster won't release your film, and then they're going to write really good things and we'll force him to release it." guess who won that one?
Who?
Mickey.
Mickey.
Wow.
Mickey. Yeah. Mickey forced it. He got all these critics to write, vehement protests, reviews, and everything. So he not only got me the highest Rotten Tomatoes score I could ever imagine, but he even. So then Harvey and I meet at détente meeting at a cafe in New York, and Harvey says, if I had $1 for every time you and that Mickey Cottrell have defamed me, I could retire. And I said, oh, well, and then he said, but listen, and this is typical of Harvey, who was everything that everyone claims, but also quite a rogue. Harvey said, don't stop, because it's working. Keep it going until the film's released, because we're getting all these reviews. Anyway, Mick, that's a typical story of Mickey meeting me, making me into a monster, firing me, and then coming back and recreating me again. I was Mickey's, art piece.
It's amazing. So when you really made it because Mickey fired you.
Well, in 1988 is when I met him.
Now everybody else is going, he never fired me.
Well, he didn't want to publicize some of my movies that I was doing in Spain. When he didn't like the movie, he didn't do anything. And that was not even with money, nothing. He just said, no, that's not for me.
What did he say no to?
I don't know which one. I think Extramuros is something that he didn't like. It was like passé for him.
I'm sorry, Assumpta, there's just way too many nuns in it.
Yes, no. Anyway, but yeah, and then back in 90s, saying about the power that he had was also, I don't know if you remember, I think you both were invited, or 3 of you were invited, was the fencing master premiere, and we had like a how do you call it?
You had a party.
A party for the Oscars, yes, exactly. And then someone protested that we was all this, and the Academy was, well, it's not ethical that you do a party with all the members of the foreign committee. People that they had to vote, and so Mickey created also a piece of wonderful thing, which was to all critics and all. It says, I think we had it, no? That it says Hollywood over tapas. What was the title of this? I'm gonna get it. It was really nice.
It's what we're talking about is like manipulation on a grand scale, which is quite extraordinary. I guess it happens like that still. But so Temi, you knew Assumpta before you knew everybody else?
No. I met Mickey in Cannes at the Cannes Festival. It must have been around 1988. I was there with another movie. I had made the Exquisite Corpses, the first movie I did,
right.
And I remember exactly how I met him, because I was in the Croisette,
yeah.
And I was looking over the veranda towards the beach, and there was Mickey down, down. I was up, and he looked at me and said, hello, hi. So I started talking to him, and then in his usual delightful manner, he said, well, I'm a publicist, and he started telling me about himself. And I thought he was so nice that we went immediately to have a drink, and we started chatting for hours, and we watched movies and all that. And then after a few years, when I finally went to Los Angeles, because I got an agent, and they told me you should be here in Los Angeles. And he was incredibly nice, because he welcomed me in his home, in his apartment in West Hollywood, that we all know, where I met Vincent, right? Vincent, I met you there.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And that was in 1991, 1990, something like that.
Yeah.
You were living on top of Mickey, or you were
On
living
top, yes.
on top?
Um,
Yeah.
exactly.
Above,
I was looking
because
when I
Above,
first came
yes.
to LA. I was
Above, on
looking.
top,
above,
yes.
yes.
For,
It was never,
I
not
think
not
we're all
exactly,
living on top of
but I was
Mickey in one way or another.
no, no. Just well. Anyway, when I first went to LA, I was looking for an apartment,
Yes.
and Mickey was kind enough to suggest that there was a spare apartment in the above where he lived. So I just moved upstairs and rented from the
By the
same
way,
landlord.
Vincent moved out of an apartment below where I lived. So he was below where I lived, and then he lived above where Mickey was.
Yes.
Yes,
Oh,
my
you were
career
living
took
in the
off.
same.
I went from your basement to his, yeah, to the lofts of living above Mickey.
Yeah.
Look, that is
Yeah.
the.
Vincent
So,
was always with some beautiful French girl, if I remember correctly. There was always
Oh,
I did live
yes.
with a French woman.
It was
yeah.
very, 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 very
French.
French.
People.
No, look, that is the article. He did this press note, and he sent it to all the people, and that's what, tempest over tapas can energize a Spain party boycott, and he went on and on everything that he was actually saying. On
I
this,
think he invented that.
on
I
these
think he
faxes
actually
that
used the words.
he wrote to everybody,
it's-
all the critics and everyone, like saying, "Hey, Bob, please do that."
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Here's a little info on the outcome of the party that made THR front page headlines yesterday. I certainly hope you can use it. I'll check in tomorrow. Many thanks, etc.
As I didn't hear back from Paul as to you half of the minute whereabouts, I'll fax to both coasts. You,
You buy guy.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
This is whoops, Exhibit A. You can see that sort of actually says you buy guy. It was there we go. There's the smoking gun.
So
But-
you wanted to talk about some anecdotes, no?
So Vincent, what's is everything triple X?
No, not really. But my stories aren't as coherent as Philip's. But the gist of it is, here you have a New Zealand guy coming to live in LA, a bit of a fish out of water, and Mickey being, to use another tired analogy, Mickey's a bit like a duck on water, calm on the surface, but pedaling like fuck underneath, trying to keep his career afloat with very little income. We're living in adjacent apartments, my apartment above his, with Mickey, I don't think often doesn't have enough money to pay the rent because unusually the landlord's saying, gee, Vincent, you're a fantastic tenant, you actually pay the rent. So I think he must have, I think he always paid the rent, but I think sometimes it might have been weeks or months, a month late or something like that. He always was very honest. So Mickey's this sort of publicist that does what he likes or what he has a passion for with people he likes. I would, apart from the professional, working relationship on a number of films, because he kind of specialized in New Zealand and Australian pictures for a long time. So he would represent those that interested him and the more independent sort of style of movie, free-spirited like Mickey himself. And, I didn't have much to do with his private life, although occasionally he would have parties together or he'd invite me down to his apartment. But I do remember that we had my cell phone. There was a kind of wireless phone in my apartment. And whenever, sometimes it had, on rainy days, it would cut into Mickey's line. So I'd be like on a phone call with somebody at CAA trying to get a project across the line. And then suddenly Mickey's voice would come on the phone talking about intimate details of his sex life on the previous night, going into excruciating detail, and I'd be kind of like trying to say to the person that I was talking to, because he couldn't hear us. He didn't know that we were getting all this sort of personal information. And I was kind of highly embarrassed because, it's a work line for me, and I don't really want to know about his personal life. And I'm sure the other person definitely didn't want to know the detail. But it was, so it was this odd, friendly, I don't know, bit of business, but we'd hang out end of the day sometimes. So that was my sort of, they were my main interactions with Mickey. Always personable, always charming, like incredibly charming. And at the same time, as you mentioned earlier, I think, Scott, he was someone, really wanting to work as an actor, but at the same time, passionate about other people and trying to make their lives work for them, as well as, run a business and survive. So that's sort of pretty much my summary of my main interactions, but you can't really sum it up anyway. My memory's crap, but wonderful, charming character.
I think it's sort of a great testament to him as a human being, the fact that Temi was never allowed himself to tumble into a ghetto. That from the surrealist and kind of dreamlike quality of Vincent, but still very incredibly masculine, to the masculinity that expressed in Philip's films, and the delicate play that Temi brings to the table, along with the actors and the actresses and everything else. There's absolutely nothing that categorizes the sort of person that Mickey was with, or that he worked with, or he enjoyed spending time with.
Yes, difficult to define. I don't know how they define it into this wake in LA. What happened there, Philip? The people that was remembering them, I'm remembering him.
Well, they didn't say, but they had all loved Mickey in various ways. They didn't describe the nature of their love.
For that, we can speak to Vincent, because he overheard the conversations.
Actually, he did describe it.
I want to make an admission 30 years later to Vincent, and that was that I never took the carpet away, but in the lounge room above your bedroom, I had a carpet, and under the carpet was a little hole. If I wasn't such an honest person and not a lecher, and wasn't interested in what was going on down there, I could have spent quite a bit of time pulling the carpet away and looking through that. But I didn't. Anyway, just because you reminded me, because you said,
this is when Philip lived. I lived underneath Philip, and Philip kindly allowed me to stay for a long time, when I first moved to Australia, and then later on I moved to America. And Philip always joked with me. Well, I hope it was joking, because my personal life was fairly busy at that time. That he was observing my private life from above in his house, where I lived in the basement. I was the person in the basement. Anyway, sorry I interrupted, Philip. I just thought it needed that.
Anyway, we know why you became directors. We know why you became film directors. Just admit it.
Anyway, what did people say? As I said, everyone loved him in different ways, but they all expressed that he delighted them so many times, just with his bon vivant attitude to life, his love of art, his dedication to his friends, his love of food, the aesthetic that he constantly sought after, his respect and love for literature. it was a very passionate 20 people in a room there at the Motion Picture Home. And I might describe this place where Mickey moved about 4 or 5 years ago. It's the Motion Picture Home, which, unlike the homes that all of us will go to when our time is up and where we send our parents, this is a home for older people or people like Mickey who had several strokes that actually is not there for profit, but to care for the people. So it's a very unusual place in that respect, because most of those homes, you know, you pay $10 and you get $1.50 worth. The rest goes to the proprietors or the company that has financed the thing, paying people as little as possible, all that stuff. Anyway, Mickey spent the last 5 years at the Motion Picture Home, where a lot of us had to petition for him to be admitted because he wasn't really in the union, and you know, he was independent and all this stuff. They let him in there, so all he had to do was to pay his Social Security, which is the American pension that you get from the government. You pay in for your whole career and then you get a pension. And he had to pay for that. He got 24-hour care by doctors, nurses, 3 meals a day. They had movies 4 times a week in the most beautiful grounds out there in the valley. Just wonderful, caring people. And so we were all amazed at that, and so delighted that had happened to our friend, you know. And one of the things that came up that was expressed also was the feeling of regret for that generation of gay men who were not able to form families because of legalities.
Yeah.
But everyone in the room was facing what Mickey has just been through, which is age and incapacity and so on. Not that they weren't sick or anything; they're all wonderful, fit, lovely people. But you know, Mickey's demise had made everybody look in their own mirror, and so the thing that came up, and so it was a wide-reaching couple of hours of discussion, and that was one of the vivid moments was, you know, that feeling of regret for that generation of gay men that they weren't able to have extended families as they could nowadays, you know, with new laws and so on. Anyway, it was a great afternoon was had. Champagne flowed. I could have gone away drunk, but I resisted the temptation. But many didn't.
Well, he liked to drink, Mickey. He liked to.
His wonderful sister, his younger sister, who had cared for him initially after the strokes that he had in Arkansas.
I think she's actually watching us right now on Facebook, Susie.
Susie.
So
Hello, Susie.
We have to say hi.
Hello, Susie.
Hi, Susie.
Beautiful woman. She cared for her brother a lot, and she cared for him for years there in Arkansas. She had a great big old colonial house that was a guest house, and Mickey became the uncle at the top of the stairs until he was admitted into the Motion Picture Home. Anyway, she's such a lovely person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I helped him to pack to this house of Susie in Arkansas. And I you know, we were like trying to, you know, see the objects and putting some away. It was interesting. I was doing there a little movie, and I had time to do that, and I was really happy of doing this. And I met Susie, and I knew that he would be such a. But he was sad to leave LA. He.
Well, I'm still shocked that he you know, he was living in a place that had an 818 area code.
Yes.
I don't know how we managed to sort of like come to terms with that. That's pretty. That's a big one, huh?
Yeah, for him. Yes.
Well, this is the other thing with Mickey is like I didn't realize it at the time, but I met and spent an enormous amount of time with Mickey Cottrell, and hey presto, that was Hollywood. That was Hollywood. That was all the best it could be. It's sometimes you only realize how extraordinary something was when it's in your rearview mirror. But I was 24 when I arrived in LA with this Spanish actress. My God, and it was the people that.
Your goddess.
Sorry.
Your goddess, not your god. Your goddess.
My goddess.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
I think the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Thank you.
you're a big influence or something. You're an extraordinary individual.
Well, I think that the thing that put us together, Mickey and me, was this kind of desire of be free, free love, free talk, free speech, free everything, and I really was, really moved to find someone that really speak his mind and didn't really care about money. And
Mickey made me feel old.
Yes.
He really, I was like, seriously, man? I was like, and he was like, what? Where he's dancing up some canyon somewhere like that. I'm like,
Yes.
What have when did I become so serious?
But I think that's why Temi also connected with Mickey, this kind of wildness, that you really enjoy being together and doing silly things. I remember you in the streets and in houses, in parties, just being free. Also,
Well, the thing I love about Mickey is what you just mentioned, is that he was a child. He remained a child, and really, truly. I mean, we all say, the artist, like Picasso famously said something like, the artist is the person who allows himself to be a child forever, something like that. But he was like that. He really was a child. I mean, he had the childlike quality. He was incredibly intelligent, smart, and very sensitive, and all that, of course. But his essence was a childlike spirit that was contagious, and I connected with that. And I must say that I always thought of myself as a free thinker and a freewheeling person, and blah blah blah. But when I was sharing the place with him, I was shocked by his day. He would imagine things. He would, and only a child thinks things like that. That were almost things that were almost obscene, but that they were very healthy. It was healthy. He was a very healthy person. Surrounded by this whole. I mean, he was also very aware of the manipulations of Hollywood and all that, but he remained a very authentic person. He was himself. He never tried to be someone or put a show or a personality. He was just exactly as he presented himself. I remember his answering machine. When you would call, he would say, "Hello, you've reached Mickey as in mouse." Mickey as in mouse.
I remember. I
I
remember
thought that
also.
was so cute. Mickey,
Yeah.
you've reached Mickey as in mouse.
Remember when we went to Las Vegas and we had this room shared on our
Well,
wedding?
perhaps we should explain.
Yes,
Assumpta and
yes.
I, because we're very classy people, got married in the Little White Chapel in Las Vegas. On the 14th of May in the year of our Lord, 1994. And we only took two good friends with us. And one was present
Temi.
company, Temi Lopez. And the other was Mickey Cottrell. And we flew out on one day, and we went and got the marriage license, and we were in the suite. I don't know whether it's the Pharaoh's suite or something in the Luxor.
Luxor, yeah.
Just at the top of the pyramid. And we had these two wonderful people with us, and then we got married, which was great, obviously. And then we went to see Cirque du Soleil, and then we came back to Los Angeles for the big party on the Sunday afternoon.
It was a great weekend. I remember that.
And young Elvis was giving a limo driver a jump start from his pink Cadillac just outside the chapel, and I use the term loosely, where we got married. They did drive-through weddings.
Yes,
that whole thing there. But I couldn't have thought of two better people to have done this pre-modern, post-modern marriage with. It was absolutely magnificent. It was great. One of the things is, and this is odd, a lot of people, particularly in Hollywood, try to project who they want to be, project who they are. He never did that. He always was what he was. There was absolutely no sense that there was something else going on there. It's like what Carl Jung, the concept of persona and self. He was always just self. Love it or hate it, he was just self, you know?
Exactly. He was very genuine and unique. Totally. I think he's one of the most unique people I've ever met. Your wife, Philip, once said something to me that remained. She said, "When I was young,
Hang on, I've had a few wives. Which wife are you talking about?
Jan.
Jan Sharp.
No, I had two wives called Jan.
Oh, wow, Sharp.
Sharp.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Lucia's mother, right?
We can't keep track.
Yeah, they were talking badly about you, Vincent. You see?
Anyway,
Well, they have to stand in line for that.
She said to me, when I was young, I used to be, I was told I was fascinating. Now that I'm older, I'm told I'm eccentric. And I think that's a very, very interesting, very intelligent way to put the way people perceive things. It's true that when one is young and beautiful, everybody, any stupidity you say, they go, oh, wow, the people admire you. When you are older, you might be, you are just eccentric. You're just a weirdo,
Yeah, the manic pixie dream girl doesn't age well.
I think the thing about mixed up, I called him mixed up generally, was, that time in LA, I was in LA for 7 years. That time in LA, you go through, very much, you have your ups and then you have certainly you have your downs. So it's very volatile, this sort of experiences where, not much might happen for a long time and then suddenly something incredible might happen in your career. And the hard thing is to remain buoyant, most of the time, because it's definitely a society where you have to present and you have to be buoyant. And Mickey, I think by nature, certainly at that time, was able to always put out for people, always
keep us afloat.
I don't know if that's the right phrase. Yeah, I don't know if that's the right phrase.
Well, it depends what he said on the phone the next day, but
no, I didn't mean that and that like that. He would always go the extra mile for people, or try and be buoyant, or be charming, or never really show his, insecurities or misgivings, or if he was going through a hard time. You didn't really see that. I think maybe as he got older, you probably did see that more, in the retirement home. I'm not sure, but certainly he always maintained that some sort of, he always tried to give people something in terms of listening, joy, a good story, whatever, a smoke, whatever. He just always engaged and kept up. I think that's quite I don't know, what do you think, Philip? You sort of, what was your experience of that time and with Mickey?
Well, that motion picture home you enter when you're relatively healthy, and you leave when you depart this life. So I was with Mickey throughout those periods. So the last time I saw him a couple of months before, he was at the last station.
Right.
And so he was only occasionally completely aware, but he was totally protective of everyone around him who was either in the same predicament or worse. Mickey was concerned that they were taken care of by a nurse, that they'd been fed properly, that the person that was having an outburst, would be cared for. I mean, it was amazing to see.
How wonderful. Yeah, how wonderful.
He himself was,
Very,
only,
yeah.
was not really in a good state and was in and out, but there were much worse people, and Mickey was so concerned about them. So in that predicament, in that lack of opportunity to do anything, his real self was revealed, and that was a loving, caring self, with that little bit of cognizance and energy that he still possessed.
Look, what it says, Susie Cottrell says, even when he was declining in November, he smiled and didn't complain, was happy to see me, even though he was almost nonverbal. Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Beautiful.
Yeah, yes, we were invited to.
Yeah, we joined a live stream. It was his birthday, and
he was speaking about you, Philip. He was saying, I just had 3 hours with Philip. We were so good, and that was the only thing. And he was exactly in and out. You couldn't really have a lengthy conversation with him, but he had these glimpses of remembering. I think he said it twice, actually.
It's very interesting. There's a rule in screenwriting, the idea of you show, don't tell. There's a lot of people around the world who are telling everybody how great a sense of humor they are, how virtuous they are, how great they are, and how they're right in one moral or ethical way. The other way to do it is you just simply do it. And there's certainly something about Mickey that he just did it.
He just was.
Yeah. And you just followed. You shook your head, looked up, and then you followed. And this is the other thing about Mickey that strikes you, that one of the most nimble, agile, lithe people that when he was a kid, he had polio. All his life he had movement problems. What did it do? It made him dance more. I don't know about you, but I saw Mickey dance more than any of you people.
What was this song he was always singing? That was, was little.
It's hard to say. The drop of a hat. If a hat was dropped, Mickey would
lean
into song. He would lean into that, shamelessly so. But isn't that?
He wrote a beautiful story about the time when he was paralyzed, when he got paralysis when he was a little boy. He wrote a beautiful story, really moving, and made you cry. He was a very good writer. Fantastic
he was
writer.
An extraordinary writer.
The copy that he was doing for
he managed to make people read articles about you people. Worked so well with Philip, he refused to work with him anymore. Go figure. But isn't that a curious thing that you've got somebody who had mobility problems, who had that physical fragility, and yet he danced more than everybody else?
Yes.
It's just absolutely extraordinary where that comes from. I don't know. He made me feel very old. That's all I can say. He made me feel very. What he did is he made me feel very repressed.
I think that the thing about the writing of Mickey was the adjectives. You don't remember? He was always, putting these adjectives that they were the most.
Assumpta Serna is the most splendid Spanish star in American skies.
Yeah, here's all these adjectives.
And what you're talking about, Temi, is the fireman's equipment.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a theory that I gave him the title because he told me the story of. Then he told me the story of being a young boy at the swimming pond, and then getting changed afterwards. And young Mickey, he turned and there was this massive fireman, and he accidentally slapped his naked package, right? Right? and he was a fireman. And this was the thing. Ever since I was a boy, I was always interested in the fireman's equipment. And and I always remember he told me, but he said to me, I said to my mother one day, I said, we had these beautiful weeping willows, these trees that were by the pond, and they were covered in this moss, this beautiful moss that you see in Louisiana and various other places. And we knew it was killing the tree. And he said, I can't remember who it was that said it. It said we should take the moss off the tree, otherwise it'd kill it. And he said, my mother said, oh, just leave it. It's so beautiful. And in terms of metaphor, for we sacrifice immortality for beauty. There was certainly something in that. There was an enormous lyricism and a strange poetry. Well, it's like I remember eating in Musso and Frank's with Mickey. Hopefully their food's improved. He says they've been cooking this since 1927. I said, is this the same dish?
I remember going there with him. He took me there. That's one of the things I remember.
And you had a martini, right?
Of course, he was very good at teaching you all the stories of the old Hollywood, the stars, and all those stories. He knew more than anybody about the.
But one thing we didn't know was that his booth was Frank Sinatra's booth.
Oh yeah, okay.
That was only revealed at the wake on Sunday.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Is Frank and Musso still there? Did they just take it? They destroyed it somehow?
I think it's closed now.
Oh, wow.
I think I read that they had posted.
Maybe
And that was a fantastic place.
Susie reports it wasn't called the Fireman's Equipment; it was called Christmas in July.
Ah, okay.
That's what it was called. I think the Fireman's Equipment might be in the sort of XXX rated version of the story.
Maybe it is still open. Let me see. Oh yeah, it opens at 5 p.m. It's open again.
Ah, okay. Okay, good.
Oh. Anyway, we're going to have a party there soon.
Oh yeah, for him?
So that means we can do it. We all agreed at the wake that we'd meet again at Musso and Frank's. We'd go to Mickey's booth and we'd eat, drink, and be merry like the old days.
I went, 10 times or more to this booth with him.
I love it there. If you're from Scotland, going to Musso and Frank's is a little bit like going to America. There's something quite magnificent about it. Now that Jerry's famous deli's closed down.
Speaking of going to America, I have to go somewhere. Not America, but at noon I have to go and do one of those Zs. Zooms.
Oh, Zooms.
Yes. Yes. I've got to sell my body.
What? Oh, really?
Good.
My mind. Yeah. Like Vincent, that's what we do every day, don't we, Vincent?
We attempt, yes. I mean, Philip succeeds, but I speak for myself.
I remember when first time I met Vincent, he said, "Oh yeah, I'm working on this project. It's set in Japan. It's about these people selling these who want to bring the cow beast. You remember that, the cow beast to Japan?"
Yeah.
And every single movie. I think probably the only film that doesn't have a story like that is Rabbit Proof Fence, which you read it, said, "Let's do this," and then what was it? 3 weeks later, you were shooting.
Well, it wasn't quite like that. It took me 3 months to read it because a woman rang me in the middle of the night, said, "Perfect film for you." And I said, "Listen, lady, people are telling me that every day during the day." Anyway, I knew she'd ring back the next day to my office, but I got to the office. I said, "Listen, there's this crazy woman from Australia. She's going to ring up. Just get rid of her." Anyway, they didn't. They disobeyed me. And then she sent them the script. They read it, my people who were working with me. Then they wouldn't let me alone until I read it. It took 3 months till I read it, actually. Then I was off 3 weeks later. But I got to go now. And do rabbit-proof fence too.
Okay,
So,
Philip, just to tell you, that was an idea of Mickey to have that. I don't know if you remember. I did an interview with you, and they published it here in El Mundo, and it's a very nice article. I have to give it back to you. It was wonderful. It was like 4 pages.
Oh, look at that guy.
I know. Look at that guy.
Yes, and
No, the other one. That guy.
No, he wants that guy. Look at that one.
Philip, just one quick thing.
Philip for president. Philip for president with a little flag.
Yes,
on
for
it.
president.
Yes.
Philip for president.
God, you've got to do better than the current ones.
That is a wonderful picture. That's a wonderful picture.
Assumpta, do you remember?
You're
Let's see
so
yours,
handsome,
Assumpta.
Philip, there.
I want to say just one thing, okay?
Yes.
Regarding this.
Yes.
Do you remember that I wanted you to play Assumpta's husband in Chain of Desire? Do you remember that?
Me?
I wanted you to play the actor,
Me?
the role. Seymour Cassell took the role. I gave it to Seymour Cassell because you couldn't do it. But I wanted you to play that part. Do you remember that?
Remember that would be. That would have been,
Scott.
Because we were shooting a movie with Harrison Ford.
Just pretend, right, Temi?
It's
Wanted
pretend.
me to pretend.
to pretend. Yes, only to pretend. But
I wanted to
I'm
play
sure
the
that
part
something could have.
because I thought I thought and think that you're very funny, that you have a wonderful sense of humor, and that you're a great actor, very charismatic, and that's exactly what I wanted for the part. And I wanted you to play with Assumpta. And then you said, no, I'm doing a movie with Harrison Ford, so I can't really do it. And then I had to take another actor. It was pretty good, but
I know the difference between acting and bullshit. So
yeah.
I knew I was a good bullshitter, but I wasn't
It's
so
a
sure
very
about
fine line.
Very fine line.
We've all lived in Hollywood. We know
There's
how
no
fun.
line. I didn't
No
think there's any
line, exactly. No line, Vincent.
Listen, I
Absolutely.
gotta go.
Okay, Philip.
I gotta go. See you all later. Great to
See you,
see
Philip.
you,
Great to
Vincent.
see you, mate. I'll give you a call over the next week.
Call me within the next 20 years, please.
Give a big kiss to Lucia, please, from me.
I'll give her a kiss.
And to
from
your
you.
new wife,
And
too,
please, for
from
me.
me.
I want to
and
hear
tell,
more about what's happening.
and tell
with
your new
you.
wife she
Yes.
should change her
You
name
go
to
out of-
Jan. It will make things easier.
Assumpta, have you got the video of any of those big jamborees we did all around the world?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Because has my guy who's making the movie about me, has he been in contact?
Yes, he has.
Are you going to send one of them to him?
He got them probably a year ago.
Oh, okay. All right.
No.
Good,
He's got them all. I got them and I did it immediately.
because they were great.
Yes,
Yeah, they were very
great.
good. They were absolutely epic. We had Craig Armstrong. We had extraordinary people on it.
Extraordinary people.
Yeah. All right.
It was
I'm
so
gonna see you
encouraging
later.
with
Yeah,
everybody.
you owed somebody a dead calm poster.
Oh, yes.
Who?
So you
I-
remember
owe-
in one of those you said there was like you were like, okay, you had a dead calm poster and you offered to send it. I don't know if it ever got sent. If it did, it never got there.
Well,
You
just
don't
tell me
remember
where
that?
to got one
Right.
in the other room. Yeah.
Mike Cabrania will be very pleased.
Yes, Micah was the person who was waiting for it.
I'll say-
I'll send
Yeah,
you
yeah.
I'll send you her
Yes,
address.
yes,
Yes.
I'll send him two.
Okay. Okay.
Fantastic.
Okay. See
Good
you all
luck.
later.
Give him
How
hell.
do I get out?
See you guys.
Hang on.
See you,
there's no-
Philip.
You just
there's no-
either I can kick you out or
Do you want us
Oh,
to
I'd
kick you out?
you kick me out? That would be an experience.
all right. Bye for now, Philip.
Bye, Philip.
See you soon.
Bye.
And he's gone.
See you, mate.
Yeah, drinks like
I'm
a
going to
fish.
have to go
Marvelous
pretty
thing.
soon too, guys, because I've got someone working here. We're on a pitch deadline
Oh,
today.
Okay.
Okay.
Kind of trying to
Okay, 10
Yeah.
minutes, 10 minutes.
So another time we'd love to have you on, Vincent, so we can we can talk about cow beasts and we can talk about monks in space. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who'd love to have me pick your brains because I remember meeting Vincent. You always struck me as somebody who couldn't quite remember where he left his keys. You all,
I'm still like that. They've got these beepers now that you can. That's remarkably astute of you to notice that. They have these beepers now, so I can work it out from one device with another device. I've always been like that.
yeah. No. I mean both actually and metaphorically. You would always sort of like, I'd be like, as Vincent, and you would always be like, yeah, hi, how's it going?
Did I look that out of it?
No, but that's a certain
Well,
thing.
there were periods of time that.
Well, no, I got to say, Quiet Man was one thing, but after Philip did the rabbit-proof fence and he had that barbecue in his house, I was like, I finally felt like I met the man, because he was, he was because he was so like, he spent over a decade with the weight of Hollywood
studio, big
blockbuster production on his shoulders, and he had this 1,000-yard stare. When I met him, first of all, it was in the middle of the shooting of Clear and Present Danger at Christmas in 1993, and he was like, "Hey, how you doing?" Yeah. Because 3 days before, he was on an aircraft carrier, saying, "Can you take that jet over there and land that on top of that?" He was just like completely, spaced out.
Mm-hmm.
That is true. When I wanted him to play your husband, Assumpta, it was because I thought he was a very charming, charismatic, adorable person, funny, hilarious, and all that. And then it's true that when he started doing the John Ford, what's his name, the Harrison Ford movie, he then got... He changed. A lot.
We have to speak with him about that, because I think he has a theory about why.
Oh, really?
Okay. Yes. I remember he was telling us when he came to Madrid to visit us once.
Yeah, but this.
Go on, share it before I go. Share the story about Philip.
Philip.
What did he say?
No, he was saying, I realize now that I really changed, and that rabbit-proof fence was really a way of me going back. And
well, more than that, he said, we asked him, because we're having dinner in a restaurant here with his wife, who's not called Jan, and he said, I said, where are you going? He says, yeah, we got to get a plane tomorrow morning because we're going to Tuscany. I said, what are you going to Tuscany for? That'll be nice. He says, no, I've got to go and convince Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, specifically Angelina Jolie, to come do my movie. And I was like, really? He says, yeah. I didn't think they'd ask me back. That's what he said. He said he considered the fact that he went and did Rabbit Proof Fence, turned his back on all of it. He thought, no, I'm done. They're never going to ask me back. So this was his kind of reinsertion into the world, where this rewritten script, which was originally, is very well known, that was originally for Tom Cruise, they rewrote for Angelina Jolie, that he had to go there and convince her to do this film. And he'd already done The Bone Collector with her, you know, so it's not like he didn't know, he'd never met the woman before. But it was very much, he was like, this is me going back into the machine, because that's kind of like what it was before. And that was the experience that I had when we, you know what it's like. You go to parties in Hollywood, and then you got the most powerful people in Hollywood sitting there, and nobody says anything.
I remember once.
Oh no, it's you and your opinions.
I remember once Vincent, he was inviting me, because we were really close, as you remember, living with Patrick there in the Whitley Heights, and he was inviting me to these parties and barbecues, whatever. And it was one time, I had all these big people there, big Hollywood people. I don't remember who was there.
Big Bob Shea and all those,
yes,
like
all
the head of New Line, the head of studios, all that kind of thing.
And I just said, how many of you have a pistol in your home? And then they started talking, and I was like, oh really, why? And I was like, yeah, but why, me being very European. And so I went into the kitchen, and he followed me back, and he said, Assumpta, you're being very opinionated.
Yeah, but you're also the woman who was doing an audition for a film called 1692. And managed to tell, the people in the room that you'd just seen a film called Thelma and Louise that you thought was rubbish.
Yes. in that I was really like Mickey. Really like Mickey.
I'm just gonna, who's that woman who walked into the room with her foot in her mouth?
Yes,
Oh, that's Assumpta. She's a Spanish actress.
yes.
Guaranteed to say something extremely silly.
And we were calling me also for Falcon Crest, the producer, to say, well, how are you? Are you doing okay? Do you like it? And I said, well, really, no. What I like is to do movies, these. Oh, and of course, they were killing me, my character.
They were basically saying, please tell us that you want to keep doing
yes.
American television and we won't kill you in the show. Assumpta didn't get that memo.
No.
She was like, I am an artist. I
Exactly.
make European independent films that nobody watches. That's what I want to do.
Yes.
And then so they killed you.
They killed me.
The chemotherapy didn't work.
Yes. I think, I had too much influence of Mickey, I think.
Yeah, you two
But
were...
guys, I got to go. But lovely to see you, Assumpta, Scott, Temi, and obviously with Philip. It's such a joy to catch up with everyone. I mean,
Yes,
and
many years,
especially in memory of Mickey, but also just to see you guys. Thank you so much for allowing me to be part of him.
I love to have you.
And obviously you're dealing with problems there in New Zealand. I hear you have a major hobbit problem that's everywhere the eye can see is just one mythical creature on top of another there.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it works here, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, guys. And I'd love to be part of, what you're doing. So I've just been a bit crazy busy, but as soon as I emerge from that, I'd love to do it. So let's
Fantastic.
keep talking soon and we'll organize something.
Yes,
yeah?
and you're going to talk to us about your experience in Germany and all these movies that you filmed. Yeah?
Yeah.
Good.
All of that.
Okay.
In
All
Ukraine.
that and more.
Ukraine.
And what are those movies? I want to see them. I want to see those movies, Vincent.
Well, that's a bit more complicated than that. But Temi, I want to talk with you more when I get more time, because I don't know what you're up to or what you're doing.
Okay.
Give me one quick summary. I don't know what you're doing. Are you writing? What are you doing?
He did a wonderful thing that we're going to see in March, which is called Combate, which is, tell me.
It's a documentary about the Venezuelan Chavismo, about the effect of Chavismo in Venezuela, which has been basically a total catastrophe and terrible. And there is a huge humanitarian crisis there right now. But very few people know about it. 8 million people have fled Venezuela and so forth. But I don't want to hold you. I'll get your email from Assumpta, and I'll write you a little email. And if you can answer and maybe give me a link to see one of your... I want to see your work because I love what you do. I think you're a great, great visionary filmmaker.
The other thing
I've
we
just
should...
cancelled the meeting that I was going to have. We can now talk for hours on this subject.
Vincent, you have to understand that Angel Sala from the Sitges Film Festival spoke incredibly fondly and in glowing terms of you and your work. And I have to tell Angel, if he's...
Navigator, right, was there. Yes.
And I have to say, if Angel's watching, that we had both Vincent and Phillip Noyce saying, when can we come back to Sitges, please?
Yes, I will.
Fantastic. I mean, it's known as, cinema fantastic also, but it was a fantastic experience of going there. I got to go, guys, but lovely to see you. All of you.
Bye,
Take
Vincent.
care.
Take care.
Bye, Vincent. I'm going to
Love
disconnect
you.
you.
On me right
Love
temporarily.
you.
See
Bye.
you guys.
So Temi, here we are alone. But look, what Susie Cottrell says the word people. What is that? What does it mean? I don't understand this sentence. Mickey would use the word dreadful. Yeah, really. Yes, dreadful. Mickey would use the word dreadful. The word people were most afraid of when talking about Mickey. Dreadful. Yes, when they were saying that the movie was dreadful or something was dreadful. It's true. Dreadful, yeah, was an adjective. Susie says the word people were most afraid when talking about Mickey. Yes, dreadful.
Well,
thank you, Susie, for sharing.
Well, what happened to it with Mickey? He was he had incredible taste.
Yes.
You didn't agree with it all. you know.
Well, he had incredible taste in movies. He had very good taste in movies. Um, and he had a wonderful taste in cooking. His cooking was always original. He came up with ideas. He invented stuff, and it was always tasty. Sometimes there were things that were absolutely almost atomic and radioactive.
We always used to have to take him food. I remember we always had to take him olives.
Olives, yes, from Spain, yes.
And I'm not quite sure. He was under the impression... It wasn't the fact that the olives were amazing, because they were olives, but it was the fact that the King of Spain ate those olives. King Juan Carlos, this is his favorite brand of olive. All right, okay, we're going with that. That's good. Yeah, it was and this is the thing. This idea when marketing, when the sales of something is an integral part of all conversations. And that was the thing. It's very often, if he was talking about a movie, it was like, I always imagined the words appearing on the poster. The most extraordinary film about a young man discovering his sexuality in the fire service in Montana. Mickey Cottrell. You know, it was always kind of about that.
I mean the adjectives that he put here on my first. Well, let's see if I can read it. Let me see. That was the first thing that it came up when I arrived to LA. Let's see if I can find it.
Let me see these ones.
I think.
You're looking for one of these or something. This is what you're looking for.
That?
Yeah.
Are people still watching this?
Oh yeah. There's still tons of people.
Oh,
Serna considers herself an international actress and lives wherever her work takes her. Though a star in her own right, her screen presence has elicited many illustrious comparisons. Pauline Kael of The New Yorker wrote, Assumpta Serna in Matador is playing a combination of the Scarlet Woman tradition of Joan Crawford, Rita Hayworth, and Ava Gardner, and Anouk Ami. I
remember that quote.
All of those flaming man-killers with their two vibrant styles. In his review of Sweet Hour's Rich Gold of Variety, praised the entire cast, but especially Assumpta Serna, who brings to the screen some of the pixie stylishness and sensitivity of Audrey Hepburn in her prime.
Wow. I remember that review.
Well, that was that got me a Los Angeles Times. Got me.
Yeah, and Bob Evans asked to
be with me in.
Can you have them FedEx a copy of Matador?
It's true.
It's like, what, you want a VHS? No, I want a 35mm print, please.
Yes.
Okay.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Assumpta, Mickey is the one who introduced me to you. And I remember very well that the first conversation I had with you was over the phone. I was in a booth in New York, I think, still. I don't know if it was New York or Los Angeles. Or you were in New York and I was in Los Angeles. I don't know. It was a long distance and I was calling through a booth. We spoke over an hour. And it was very expensive because, I had to pay for the fucking call, But we spoke, we were supposed to have a really quick, introductory chat. And we started talking and talking and talking. It went on and on and on. I remember that very well.
Yes. Our conversations were like, Mickey too, we could be for hours, talking. I remember that, always, it was not before 2 or 3 a.m. that we were just leaving his home.
But I got to tell you guys, it's like, Temi, you were almost famous because you had a rental car from Ugly Duckling that you...
Oh, yeah. Yes.
That you'd never got around to giving back after several years. And every single time you kind of gestured to it, it was nothing more than a growing debt.
Yes.
I was like, geez, you owe that company so much money you could buy 2 cars by now.
Yes, exactly what happened. Absolutely. That's
what
true.
happened with the car?
I don't know. I eventually gave it back, evidently.
Yes.
I gave it back, but it's true that I kept owing them, because the guy kept saying, no, it's all right, you can pay me later. So, okay, so I kept driving. It was a very shitty car, by the way, but
Well,
anyway.
it's not called
It
Ugly
was
Duckling for nothing.
more, it ended up costing me more than if I had bought a Lamborghini. How do you call it?
Lamborghini?
Lamborghini. And what is the memory that you have of Mickey, Temi, when you think about the insightful conversations that one might have with him? What do you remember being? Because there is all this funny part, but I remember also being very insightful about things.
Oh, of course. I mean, he had that external thing that of gaiety and
Yes.
humor. He was humorous. I mean, he was. I think people that have a sense of humor are. It's very important to have a sense of humor in this life, and he had a wonderful childlike sense of humor. I always saw him as a child. I really did. I even felt like protective of him because sometimes I felt like he was a paralyzed child with a bad leg. But yes, I slept on his couch for months. I don't know how long, but I slept there a lot. So I shared with him a lot. So in the evenings, I mean, the only thing is that can I say that he would smoke a joint? Is that all right?
Yes, of course.
I think that's legitimate.
Okay, so he would smoke, and I was always much more restrained than he was. I wouldn't dare. Maybe I gave a puff, but I never, went too much. And he would drink. But so, and he was just always delightful. And we would have long conversations that night after dinner about movies, about cinema, about literature. He read a lot. He read, and he knew a lot about good cinema, whether it was Hollywood. I mean,
Yes.
he even knew. I remember he knew the names of secondary and tertiary actors in movies, like cowboy movies, where there was this guy who had done 3 movies with Hawks or with Capra or something, and he knew the name of the actor.
Yeah. That's why it went very well with Scott. After a while, after they start, talking, right? Because you had this also remembering these things, and they had
There's also things I remember arguing and debating with him that I now agree with him on. Like I remember having a kind of an almost political rejection of the film Forrest Gump, and he loved it for all it stood for, and I was like being very cynical and as Oscar Wilde said, I'm not young enough to know everything.
That's a great. I had never heard that one before.
Well, the original quote is from J.M. Barrie, and it was one part of it was used by Oscar Wilde. The full quote from J.M. Barrie is the elderly believe everything, the middle-aged doubt everything, and the young know everything.
I see. Very good.
Which is, but I've sort of changed my point of view on many things, and now I know exactly where he was coming from. It's very interesting. But it's the same thing with you, Temi. I remember a birthday party in your house in Pacific Palisades, and my grandfather was there. And I've told this, told this story before because of the circles we all moved in. There was a lot of couples there, and I remember driving home, and my grandfather in the seat next to me, he said, "Scott," and he had a great time, and everybody loved him because my granddad was, pretty authentic as well. My granddad would go to Hollywood parties, and he'd be the life and soul of the party because he was real. And it was like, "Oh my God, your grandfather is extraordinary," said the man who was nominated for an Oscar. You know what I mean? It's like that sort of stuff. And he were driving home, and he said, "Oh, Temi was wonderful. What an amazing host." And he sort of paused, and then he sort of said to himself, he said, "I know a lot of those men were together." And I was like, "Yeah." And he said, "But they were so wonderful to me, and they were such nice people." Right? And it was a wonderful thing where somebody from another generation who'd never had the opportunity to genuinely be around that many wonderful people and wonderful, sweet, sensitive, and just kind people, and this sort of generational breakthrough that happened. And these sorts of breakthroughs, they don't come with explosions or crashes.
Mm-hmm.
They just gently, the tide shifts slightly in one direction or the other.
Mm-hmm.
It was really wonderful, and I always thank you for that, Temi, because
Well, I now that you mention, I remember now your grandfather. I do remember him.
Little English man with a bald head.
Bald head.
Yeah. I remember him.
Well, because there was a point he stayed with us in Los Angeles, and my grandfather he traveled all around the world. He went to all the finest film festivals.
With me.
Yeah, managed to hit on on women who were just so out of his legue.
And also, remember with Rene Russo and when you were with him,
with Alan Cumming.
Yes.
Was a friend of mine in Los Angeles. He invited. We both met. My grandfather and my father met Rene Russo on the film set, and she said, "Oh my God, 3 generations of the same family, and they're all such gorgeous men." And then my granddad and my dad were like, no. And then from thenceforth, my father would talk about Rene Russo just using her first name. So I was watching one of Rene's films the other day, Scott, and it struck me that it's not one of our finest performances, but there are aspects to it which are definitely worth viewing. It's like, all right. Do you speak much on the phone, you and her?
Mm-hmm.
It was...
Look, Susie Cottrell says, as a little girl, he made me watch 4-star movies on Saturday afternoons. Yes.
That's fantastic. This is when they ran out of all the 5-star movies. Now we're going to deliberately watch slightly bad films.
Look, there is Fran Vico who says, hi, Temi, greetings. Send us a greeting for Familia de Cine in Spanish because you speak it very well.
Well, esto es like, podemos seguir en español, but we're going to alienate all the English speakers.
No, it's better to speak.
Temi,
we have to do with you also, Temi, something after, for instance, that we see Combate. We could actually...
Or before,
whatever.
I would love that, to find out what's going on with it. You see, some people want to make movies. Some people, want to make a short film. Temi is just interested in liberating an entire country. Right?
I wish I could.
I think it's a pretty noble...
You should see Simon. It's a nice movie.
Yeah, no, I've been told by everybody. Everybody tells me about it and
I have to tell you this about the movie. The movie's not about Venezuela. I mean, it is, but it's not. It's about Venezuela in the same way that Braveheart's not about Scotland. Or Gladiator's not about ancient Rome. It actually transcends the politics and actually it finds something a lot more universal. It's actually a very well made and adult film. The leading actor is very, very good, very competent.
Good. I'm very happy because the problem I used to have with Venezuelan movies is that the acting wasn't very good because.
The actor is great.
Yeah, good. I'm very happy to hear that. I'm very happy.
Look, A Coruña, Sevilla, Valencia, Barcelona, Bilbao. Shit.
It's not in Malaga?
It's not in Malaga. Okay, I'm going to pass it to you, though, but I'll ask the producer.
I think soon they're going to put it on the internet or they're going to show it in movies theater, no?
I'm going to, I don't know, I don't think, now it is running for the Goyas, so, they are really concentrated to have the promotion on that, and that's why they go to some of the places where the people...
I spoke to the producer, or one of the producers recently. He saw Combate and he liked it a lot, and he made a few comments and so forth.
Who is the producer?
His name is, I think... Wait, I have to look at his name.
Because you are in Malaga, right, Temi?
Yeah, I'm in Malaga, yeah. No, but they are not showing it in Malaga for now.
Yeah.
But this guy is called Requenzo or something like that. I have to look it up. Why, do you know any of the producers or what?
Yes, you know him too. Remember that I introduced you to him? Is Carlos Tellefer.
Ah, sí, claro.
Carlos
Claro.
Tallefer. Carlos Tallefer.
Ay, pero él
No,
es
no,
el
he's not a
productor.
producer. No, he's not a producer. What he does is help movies to
I know
be
he
seen
said,
in the Academy.
yeah, no, I know. He sent me the thing. He sent me
Okay,
the
okay.
thing, and he said, "Tell me when you want to go." And I said, "Well, I'm in Malaga." So, anyway, no, but I spoke to another guy who actually produced the movie, or is actually distributing it, because they are self-distributing the movie. They are doing it themselves. You know?
Uh-huh.
Do you know that?
Yes,
They
yes.
don't have
A
they don't have
distributor
a
yet.
We have a
yeah.
question here from Agata who's asking, is the Venezuelan movie a documentary or a film? Well, it's a documentary. It's a
Temi's
documentary.
movie is a documentary, right?
Yeah.
Temi?
Sí,
Yeah.
sí, claro.
Y mira, Agata habla inglés ahora, ¿eh? Es que nadie atreve de hablar inglés conmigo. Qué fuerte.
Sí.
Está molt fort. It's very, very strong. Right. I think we should finish up now, because we're going to organize and we're going to have a live stream. We're going to talk about Temi as a filmmaker and his remarkable vision, because I think he has a glorious eye, something which is extraordinary. And he is a little bit like us, a global nomad. He has surfed all over the world, as it were. Agata says, ja, 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 cuando quieras. Pues ahora. So we should hook up and do a live stream. I don't know why we wait so long to do it. That's crazy that we haven't done it yet. And we're going to be back tomorrow.
Yes.
On Friday we'll be back live. Vamos a volver en castellano. Vamos a volver en cristiano mañana, como decimos.
Tomorrow we have Alba Mejide. If you want to come,
that's
also,
it. Tomorrow
Temi.
we'll be talking about artificial intelligence in terms of filmmaking and the whole workflow.
Yes, she knows a lot.
She's an incredible expert on the subject, and
Yes.
it's absolutely fascinating. So we're gonna have that tomorrow at 8
if you
p.m.
want to also,
Drop by.
Yes.
So we'll be here. But in terms of, for everybody else, we have to thank you very much, Temi, for being here. It was a delight, and it was wonderful to see Philip and Vincent in the same room, albeit virtually. No?
Yes.
I just want to say one thing. I admire you both immensely, both as actors. I had the incredible privilege to work with you, Assumpta. Mm-hmm. And you were splendid and luminous and fantastic and with a wonderful sense of humor. And I haven't worked with you yet, Scott, but I dream of doing it, because I think you're one of the funniest people I know. You are almost as good as Jim Carrey in that kind of mimic
I'm a very serious person.
Yeah, I know.
No, but in the idea of connecting ideas and being also very fast, right?
No, incredible. I think he's one of the the funniest people I've ever met. I really mean that, and you know it. And so hopefully one day we'll do that.
We'll do that. Yeah.
By the way, I'm still trying to put together Divina. Remember Divina?
Oh yes. Yeah,
so I'm still thinking about you guys whenever I get a producer, finally get a producer. And I'm thinking of Antonio Banderas to play the guy, because in the Spanish version, Antonio would be perfect for that.
I think that's good, because he needs the work right now. I'm worried about him. I really am. I hope everything's going okay.
Well, you're going to start being worried about me, because it's true.
I'm always worried about you. You know, particularly when Assumpta turned to me and she said, "Can we write an opera?" Quote unquote. I mean, seriously.
Well, she says she's going to write an opera. She will. I know her.
It's true.
Whatever she says she's going to do, she does it. You know.
Well, I need Scott now.
I admire you very much, because as teachers, I've seen you as teachers too, and I think you're extraordinary. And I think I don't follow too much your courses, because I'm always, in a rush. You know how it is. But sometimes I see 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And I'm impressed. You're fantastic.
Oh,
thank you, Temi.
You really are very good, and I'm sure you're helping a lot of aspiring actors to become good actors. I'm sure you're doing that
We're very lucky. We have wonderful people with us. Francisco, who, the people who are here today. Fran, Francisco, Jasmina, who is an absolute movie star. You don't get a chance to sort of meet people like that very often. That you kind of go, oh my God, you can go all the way. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things that, we've always said it's because we've never had children. Yes. That's probably the reason why we are so inspired when we work with people is that we have all of this parental energy that we don't have we've never had a chance to give anybody.
Yes, I think that was also one part of Mickey, this idea of helping people and being also,
Mickey was like a godfather.
Yeah,
you know what I
godfather.
mean?
Yes.
He was like a godfather who sang loudly and danced in the street and drank a little too much.
Sometimes.
But that was kind of the thing. I'll never forgive him for taking me to that vegetarian restaurant. It was awful. It was someone in La Brea. This has got like the best reviews I've ever read of a restaurant, and it's like, dude, this is cardboard. This is really. Hi, my name is Curtis, and I'll be your food service technician for this evening. Would you like to know what the specials are? It's like, all right, go ahead. Well, it's a bilingual, non-farm reared Norwegian salmon. It speaks English, Norwegian, and a little touch of Danish. It is Scandinavian after all. It is insinuated on a slightly insulted bed of Egyptian rucola. And you're like, do you need me for this conversation, or can I come back? Do you guys have it written down somewhere? This is way too long.
Well, Mickey loved that. Mickey loved the descriptions of food that the people were making. Yes.
Of course he did.
Susie says, he took me there. Too dreadful.
Yeah.
He took me there. Too dreadful, says Susie.
I think it's because everything was so hedonistic that he had this sort of punishment restaurants that he went to where he knew that what he was eating was very healthy and very good for you and everything else. Mm-hmm. Instead of like a ribeye steak and a dirty martini. Yeah, absolutely.
By the way, I have a memory with Mickey and Paul Bartel. Mickey took us.
Paul. Yes.
Mickey took. I thought Paul was the funniest person. I mean, his movies were hilarious. He was very serious,
Very serious, yes.
But his movie, and Mickey took us to a pizzeria kind of restaurant in West Hollywood somewhere, and it was a Mickey, fabulous pizza, blah blah blah. Indeed, the pizza was good, but unfortunately, there was an orchestra, a little orchestra that was playing a music so loud. It was like. And I remember Paul's face. He was just. He didn't say a word, but it was just his face. And Mickey was smiling, of course, but Paul was like not amused at all. The music was really torturous. It was horrible. But I remember laughing. I couldn't stop laughing because I was watching Paul's face. Stone face.
Yeah.
So
he always liked also noisy places.
Yeah.
No? Yeah.
Yeah, he had the social taste of a 17-year-old social butterfly sometimes.
Yes, he was on
it's like, do we really need to go clubbing, Mickey? Really?
It was motivating.
I'm 25 years old. I'm a bit old for that now. But this was the other thing. Paul Bartel is very interesting because it was because of Seymour Cassel and Paul Bartel that you became a member of the Academy.
Yes, thanks to them.
And Paul Bartel, who was a very sweet man, he was kind of like, he had a sort of Rob Reiner energy going about him. He made a very, very funny film in the late 80s, early 90s called Eating Raoul, which was which was his film. And we would go watch a movie at the Samuel Goldwyn Theatre on Wilshire Boulevard and then go and eat at the deli across the street with Seymour Cassel and Paul Bartel. And it's extraordinary. Looking back on it, you sometimes don't realize how fortunate you were. We went out with Mickey and we went to Jerry's Deli with Eve Marie Saint after a screening of North by Northwest.
Really?
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. Eve Marie Saint, it was very interesting because she would never say, she didn't have a bad word to say about Hitchcock, which tells me that she had a lot of bad words to say about Hitchcock. She was notoriously kept stumm, didn't say a damn thing about Hitchcock, but she was incredibly graceful and or with Burt Kennedy and Burt Kennedy's annual 70th birthday party.
Oh, Curtis
Hanson.
Curtis, remember Curtis? He was a very
I
good.
do remember him very well. I went to his home very many times to have dinner with him. He was a fascinating man, very
fascinating
interesting
man, and also with all this memorabilia on his home.
Yeah, he had Marlene Dietrich's. He had Marlene
was-
Dietrich's high-heeled shoe on his dresser.
Exactly, it's Marlene Dietrich's shoe. Yes,
That was next to the framed billion-year contract that he got from the Scientologists.
Oh, he was he was a
No.
Scientologist?
He did it because he wanted the billion-year contract. He wanted the contract so he could have a piece of the memorabilia, as it were.
really.
Yeah, he said it was like, oh my God, no, I had absolutely no intention whatsoever of being with those mad people, but I got the billion-year contract from the Sea Org. That's what he did.
I remember I met an actress there whose name I don't remember right now, but it's an actress that I adored because she has a part in 8½, in Fellini's 8½. She is the I don't know if you remember. I mean, obviously I've seen it many times.
Yeah.
But anyway, she's the one that has like a little thing in her hair. She plays the sort of pseudo intellectual model that's screwing the producer. And anyway, I don't remember her name. I used to remember her name, and I met her at Curtis Hanson's house.
It's not Grace
Fascinating.
Zabriskie, is it?
No, Grace
No,
was a
no.
friend of Temi.
Yeah, very good friend. By the way, I haven't seen or heard from her in years. Do you have any news?
She
No.
cropped up in a TV show that we saw, I believe. But it's very interesting. It's like Pamela Gidley, died, which very strangely. There's I don't know, Jordan Allen. I don't know where he is now.
Yeah, Jordan Allen. All these people that we met, they were,
when we did that film with Jordan Allen, every single Arquette was in that.
Yeah, remember all the
David,
family.
Richmond, Richard, Patricia.
Yeah.
They were all in it. Louis the
also.
father.
Yes, the father.
The funny thing is, I remember Richmond Arquette. He said to me, Richmond is very funny. Richmond Arquette appears in all David Fincher's films.
That is another director that was helped by Mickey.
Jordan Allen.
Jordan Allen.
Yeah, of
to
course.
put all this cast together.
Oh no, the cast is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, and that was Mickey.
Justin Bateman is in it. I mean, everybody's in it.
Mm-hmm.
People, Lucas Haas. Remember Lucas Haas? Lucas Haas is the little boy in Witness. Very, very nice man. Richmond Arquette, he told me, he said, my agent called me out one day and said, Richmond, listen, I think the problem might be your name. And he said, what do you want me to change it to? Baldwin? Because there's so many Arquettes.
Yes.
And because Alexis was in that when Alexis was still a dude. It was, yeah.
Is he now do this or what?
No, he's no longer with us. Alexis died a little while ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, quite a few years ago. Yeah, he had AIDS and amongst other things, and had problems with drugs, etc. Very, very sad because Alexis was. For those of you out there who don't know who Alexis Arquette is, if you have ever seen the film Pulp Fiction, when Vincent Jules are intimidating somebody, on Marcellus's behalf, there's a guy who runs out the back room with a pistol. That's Alexis Arquette.
But he also had a little scene in the in a staircase or something. I remember. I don't know.
And what?
On that movie?
No.
No.
No. He's the one who comes out and sort of like shoots at them.
And what happened with Linda Fiorentino? That was also. You don't know
I
her?
have no idea. I have no idea what happened to her. No idea. I know. Well, what I know is that after I recommended her for the movie that made her a star, which is The Last Seduction. I remember the director called me and said, I'm thinking of hiring Linda, but I've been told, but she's very difficult. She's impossible. She's blah, 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 blah. And I said, no. She's wonderful. Hire her. Absolutely. She's great. She's just very intelligent. She questions things, but she's wonderful. Anyway, the guy gave her the role. and she became very famous after that.
What was
But
the
then
director? John Dahl?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But then after that, she made a movie that she had been telling me about the life of a painter, a very famous American painter that lived in the desert with Max Ernst. Very famous American. I don't remember her name. She's very famous. Anyway, she paints sort of abstract things. Well, whatever. She was shooting a movie about that artist, and apparently she was impossible to deal with. The producer, I knew the producer, and he said that she wouldn't come out of her trailer, and that she was impossible and difficult and a bitch and blah 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 blah. She ruined her career right there, completely.
It's it's one of the things that we always tell people. You can be the best actor in the world. You can turn water into wine, but if you're a pain to work with,
yes,
nobody's going to call you a second time.
Sooner or later, you're going to be completely dismissed.
Because Linda Fiorentino, if people out there who don't know who she is or don't recognize her name, a wonderful actress, absolutely stunning, incredibly sexy, and she plays the coroner in Men in Black, the Barry Sonnenfeld film with Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones, and she's great in that. And that should have been her career. That's where it should have, she should have gotten to the stage where Mickey wouldn't want to work with her.
Yes.
By the way, Assumpta, do you remember, or did I ever tell you that after I gave you the role for Chain of Desire, that you played wonderfully, I got a call from Julianne Moore. Did I tell you that story?
No.
Yeah, she called me and she said she wanted to be in the movie. And I said, but I had offered her the role of Linda Gott, the singer, okay, in the club, which I thought was a great role. And then she said, no, I want to play the other role, the wife of the, I said, but I already gave the role to my friend Assumpta, and, I'm sorry, but it's taken, And so she didn't want to play the other one. She wanted to play that role. Only that role. And then what's funny is once when we had already cast Linda, then we got a call from Madonna's manager saying that Madonna was interested in playing Linda's role.
Wow.
And then we discussed it, and Brian's and I said to Brian, well, it's Madonna and so forth. And she said, no, she's going to come in and fire me and fire you, and she's going to do her own movie and blah blah blah, which I don't think it was true. But we had already given the role to Linda. And another interesting thing, do you remember David Duchovny?
Yes, I met him there, right?
Well, yeah, you met him probably in Los Angeles. I was very good friends with him.
Yes, I remember a party, you and me there with David Duchovny. Yes, of course.
Well, he wanted to play the gay guy, one of the gay guys. That you always said they are the best characters in the movie and they're most likable. I remember you telling me that. And I think that's true. Your character is also great, by the way. And Seymour, anyway. I
have a lot of things. I remember that I told you that I am now with a filing, and I see a lot of things. I have a lot of things. I have things from Chain of Desire that I'm sure you don't have.
I'm sure I don't. Actually, I would love to have a good copy of the movie. I don't have a copy. I don't have anything.
We have
nothing.
One.
I don't have the poster. I don't have anything.
The only thing is that we have a master in U-matic.
We have a master in U-matic, so it would have to be transferred.
Really?
And also, it depends whether the tape still works, because it's 30 years old. U-matic is a very stable format. It's much more stable than DVDs or anything else like that. But does there exist a print?
Well, it must exist, but I don't have one, and I don't know. I called the producers, By the way, this is something you may not know, Assumpta. This is very sad news too. But remember Brian Cox,
Yes, of course.
the producer?
Yeah,
He died.
blonde. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
he
Yeah,
was a redhead.
red hair. Yeah,
Very good friend of mine. I love
yeah.
that
I
man.
remember that. Yes.
And we always exchange email. He had a very uh, wonderful relationship with me. We would make jokes about sexual things, and anyway, I had a great relationship with him, and we were always exchanging funny emails and all that. And one day I sent an email with one of my jokes, who are you screwing these days, or something like that. And then I got an email back from his wife saying, "Didn't you know that Brian Cox passed away?" And I was like,
Wow.
"I didn't know."
When was that?
That was several years ago. That was like
Mm.
5, 6 years ago. I was shocked because nobody had told me. And the thing about LA is that I have very few, besides Mickey and Ian Burney,
Yeah,
that I
Ian.
thought.
Remember Ian? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Ian, a wonderful guy. I love him. I thought he was going to be here tonight. But anyway, I don't have any friends in Los Angeles left, really, good friends. I used to be very good friends with Dan Ireland. Do you remember Dan?
Yes, another producer, right?
And another person who died.
Yeah.
Exactly. He died. Also,
That was a real shock because Dan was one of those American men that you meet that seem to be bulletproof. You know what I mean? They're just like tanned and good hair and big, and he was just like one of those sorts of guys. You expected to see him like ranching or something like that. And it was a real shock that he died. Because
Well, one day I'll tell you a very, very interesting story with him.
Yeah, let's keep it from where. Look, Susie says Ian was at Mickey's celebration. Ah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ian is a great guy. Say hello to Ian from me,
Susie.
Susie, please. I like him a lot. He's a wonderful man. And anyway, why was I was going to telling you this because I don't have a copy, and I've been approached by two companies already saying they wanted to put Chain of Desire out on DVD.
Well, why we don't do something? Why we don't find a lab?
Well, you need to find a print first.
Well, but
you find a print,
with
then
this
you can do
U-matic, we can.
You can do something like that, but ideally, what you do is you find a print. You would do a telecine of it at 4K. You'd make a Blu-ray. You'd clean up the file because it's going to be the print's going to have some damage on it. And then you would, take it from there. That's what you need to start with. But
perhaps the U-matic can be also...
No, the U-matic's not high definition. It's standard definition. It's not high definition. Didn't appear until, 15 years ago. Tops.
I don't know where to find this print then, Temi.
Well, hypothetically, the producer should have it stored somewhere.
I'd like to have it for a retrospective also, that because the Filmotech, perhaps they were going to do a retrospective of my work, and I'd like to have Chain of Desire there.
It's a good movie. It's a really
good
movie.
I would love that. I think I had problems with the movie, a few things, but I when I watched a lot of stuff that I watch on Netflix, I think, well, this movie was a precursor. Now, the gay guys, the gay couples that love each other are a dime a dozen. Now it's very fashionable to have all these gay guys loving each other.
But not back then.
No, back then, no.
I got to tell you, whenever there's something on Netflix and it's a man and woman in bed having sex, I'm like,
says, wow,
that's pretty weird.
That's weird.
Yes, it's true. That's pretty perverse.
It's true.
Honestly,
I said the contrary now.
You know what I mean? I call my priest. It's interesting how the tide has turned. So many people out there right now want to talk about how everything is racist, how everything is phobic or transphobic or homophobic or everything else like that. All I got to do is, you don't know what it was like, 30 years ago or before that. Mm-hmm. The film My Best Friend's Wedding, which with Julia Roberts, Dermot Mulroney, Cameron Diaz, and Julia, and Rupert Everett, was the first time that a test audience came back and said, we want to see more of the gay guy. We want more of the gay character. It was a real seed change in the relationship that particularly American society had with the concept of other sexualities.
Yeah.
And that was like, there was a before and after.
Do you remember, like Philadelphia with
Antonio Banderas,
yeah, no, but with
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks. Now it would be impossible.
Well, no, it would be impossible unless Tom Hanks was gay.
Exactly.
Which is another preposterous thing.
A preposterous thing, because he was great there.
This is everything swinging too far in one direction. The trouble when things swing too far in one direction is they're going to swing back, and they're going to swing back hard. Mm-hmm. This is the weirdest thing, because of all of this woke stuff, that apparently the opinion and relationship with gay bisexual people is at the lowest it's been for 20 or so years.
What is the lowest?
That people's tolerance and acceptance has dropped.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because of the perception of how it's that everybody's running around shouting victim. A lot of it's got to do with the trans issue and everything else like that. But it's people are being they're losing acceptance. Let's say that. I don't like the idea of tolerance, because it suggests that you have to take something which is not necessarily good for you or anybody else. So that's one of the things that's happened, and has 100% to do with the whole woke movement and what's happening in terms of trans rights activists and everything. It's a very strange world.
It is unfortunate. I mean, I think the people who are reacting for the woke thing, it's an overreaction that I think is very unfortunate. I mean, now we have Elon Musk, who is supposed to be the richest man on earth, being anti-woke and right-wing and supporting Trump and things like that. And anyway, let's not go in there.
Let's not go in there. It's already 2 hours that we are here.
It's already 2 hours.
We should say goodbye.
So we're going to go forth and eat.
Yeah, and Temi, let's talk another day for an hour.
Well, whenever you want. I mean, we can talk just between as friends, without
having to do some serious editing afterwards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I am Assumpta and Scott. I'm extremely happy, just as a friend of yours, that we finally been able to talk after what it seems like ages, because I haven't seen you. I mean, I'm in Malaga. That's basically the main reason, of course. But I haven't seen you in a long, long time, and I miss you a lot. I miss you both.
Yeah, and you have to deal with that terrible climate there. It's
awful.
And you got that beach annoying you.
I tell you, I love it here. I love living here. It's the best imaginable place. You have to come and visit me, because it's really a paradise for me. I am in front of the beach, 50 meters from me, in front of me. I mean, it's fantastic. I love it. I
hate you. I
hate you a little bit too.
Do you hate me?
You should hate me. But anyway, I am very happy, because I've been missing you a lot, and I'm happy that at least this way we can talk, and
Well, look, so Agatha says I love you too. So
I love it too. I love it too. I love.
She loves it too.
Malaga.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. She's from Cordoba, but she lives close to Malaga.
Yes, it's a wonderful lady. You should meet her.
Yeah. And boy, does she know about.
She knows a lot about movies, and you'll have wonderful conversations. It's called Agatha Orbu. Yeah. She's a very nice actress.
She can beat me hands down when it comes to movie trivia. That's for sure.
Yes.
It's particularly when it comes to what the hell you call films in Spanish.
Yes.
She lives in Malaga.
She lives in a little town which I think is called Mijas, which is to the north of Malaga.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's not a million miles away. Right. Let's close it up for today.
Susie says Mickey would have loved your hat, Temi.
Yes, I put it on. I'm glad you noticed, but I put it on because of Mickey, as an homage to Mickey, of course. That's why. That's why I'm wearing it.
If I'd known, I would have put my Oppenheimer hat on too.
And by the way, there is a thing I wanted to say at one point, but didn't have time. But I wanted to say that Mickey was the funniest actor I worked with ever when I was doing Home, the horror story, and he played a priest. Have you ever seen that movie?
No.
I don't think so.
No. He's hilarious. He is hilarious. And I remember I used to say action, and then I had to look away because I started laughing when I saw him. He was hilarious. He was hilarious. So anyway, that's my
absolutely-
last.
No, that's brilliant.
Okay. Thank you, Susie, for being here. And well,
we have it confirmed. Yes, we are talking about Mijas.
yes,
she's in
I get that.
Mijas.
But Susie, thank you very much for being here.
And thank you so much for everything you did with our friend. And you are, you're a great person. What can I say? And we're all very, very fortunate to be touched briefly
See.
and legally by Mickey.
Yes.
In the times that we had him and the things that we learned from him.
Wonderful brother, Susie, I'm sure, and wonderful friend.
And the other thing is that's the other thing that Mickey had is he was always open to learning something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons.
Yes.
Which is one of the reasons why his criteria was so high, because he paid attention. He really paid
He
attention
really
to everybody.
listened to everybody. Yes, true.
Yeah, and in terms of, and this is interesting because he might have been like had a name for being the publicist that does the gay movies, but I mean that's the thing. You got Vincent Ward and Phillip Noyce, the two most rampantly heterosexual men you could come across. It absolutely broke all sorts of barriers were absolutely
all
destroyed.
cliches.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you all for being here, and thank you, Temi. Huh?
And
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. It was wonderful. It really filled my heart with joy to participate in this.
Okay, great. Yes.
For a wonderful human being that we should forever remember.
Forever.
And he will always be there with that smile, that wonderful smile he had. Okay. If you look at this, what you just put in there. He has a wonderful mind, and I look totally lugubrious.
You look fine.
just a little bit.
No, it's because the shadows, but
better. I do have a side that is sort of serious, and so
reflective.
Well, I the other thing is I also made it made it black and white, which is why it looks so serious.
Yeah.
No. Anyway, who cares? It's fine.
Bye.
Adios. Ciao, amore. Amore
Ciao.
per tutti.
Ciao.
Sí, ciao. And tomorrow, mañana, vamos a estar con...
Just one question. Sorry.
Sí.
I don't know where to look. Where do I look because when you look at the camera, you seem to be looking at me or at the
Yes,
viewer.
of course. Yes.
Well, this is
do
what
you
happened.
look?
No, let me explain this to you, and this is very, very clever.
Yeah,
When we're talking to people, right, we actually have a teleprompter in front of the camera lens.
You do?
We do. So, and what happens in that teleprompter? There's no words there, but what there is the image of the person that we're looking at. So, so what happens is we're looking directly at the person who we're speaking to.
Yeah, but you look, but is it straight into the? For instance, I see you. I just saw you, or you, Assumpta, and close up. Do I look at you, or do I look at this little thing that is on top of the camera here?
Whatever you're more comfortable with. It's
No,
really.
but I look at like that. Am I looking?
That's okay. That's okay. We understand that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We understand that. The worst thing
is
when somebody's like this. Yeah. So I was saying and they're.
Yes, and I tend to do that because I have everybody here. You see, that's why I'm looking a lot here.
That's why she's looking there, because it's a much clearer image. This one where you are right now is about 2.5 meters away.
But that is where we have the teleprompter and the camera, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you look fantastic, Assumpta. You look great.
Thank
and
you.
you don't look bad at all, Scott, yourself.
Well,
You're always been a very handsome, sexy man.
Yes, he
well
is.
now.
No, I've never known that, but that only helps to make me more handsome and sexy. I believe.
Exactly.
So one does one's best.
Bye.
All right. Love you to bits,
Ciao.
Temi. Let's see each other soon. And we're going to say goodbye to everybody. Mañana vamos a estar hablando sobre inteligencia artificial. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about artificial intelligence. And tomorrow is exactly when we're going to have más.
Y mejor.
That's the one.
Nuria.
Right.
That was nice.
That was wonderful. That was really,
That
really
was really
genuinely
nice.
wonderful.
And I love Philip. And
To everybody who's still here
Vincent.
or is watching this later, thank you for. There's some absolute gems in there. Vincent Ward talking about his experience in sieges and the whole filmmaking process. Temi talking about Linda Fiorentino and the
Yeah.
whole process of casting of
Yeah.
Chain of Desire.
And we'll talk more with Vincent and Temi. That's for sure.
Yeah, and
Philip is so busy though.
Yeah, no. And Philip, who Mickey managed to get him so successful that he no longer wanted to work with him. Which I think
That is a
beautiful-
great
I think that's
quote.
absolutely brilliant. Yeah, he hit the bid time and he said, and he fired me. Isn't Hollywood a stupid place? So thank you
That
very
was
much.
Mickey.
Thank you very much for spending this time with us, and we'll be back again tomorrow in Spanish.
Yes.
We'll be talking to an expert on artificial intelligence and what she sees coming in the future.
Bye.
Yeah, look, Vincent Ward. Yeah, Vincent Ward. So what I want to get to is we get Vincent back. We can talk to him about Alien 3 because Alien 3, Vincent has a story credit on the movie, and he was about to direct it, and he also wrote the original story, which is the great influence on the film which David Fincher ultimately made. And of course, the film that I was talking about there were about the cow beasts in Japan. That film became The Last Samurai, directed by Ed Zwick. So
That was also his idea.
that was also his idea. So Hollywood is a very peculiar place where ideas swing in and out, and they change and they mutate. Or the thing with Phillip Noyce going to see Angelina Jolie, where the script was written originally for Tom Cruise, and then it was rewritten for Angelina.
What did he say that he actually was going to do? That I couldn't.
Convince Angelina Jolie to do his movie.
No. Now when he left.
No idea.
No, but he said something like I had to do.
No, he had to go and sell his body.
Yeah, but what was that? all
That's
this
the
about?
idea of prostitution. He was joking.
I was joking. Yes. Sometimes I don't get
It's a
it.
little literal for sometimes. Wait, he's actually going to work as a prostitute? Oh my God.
No, I
poor
was
Phillip.
thinking first that was something with intelligence, artificial intelligence.
No,
like,
I don't
yeah.
think so.
But okay.
Anyway, we're going to finish for tonight. Thank you everybody out there on Instagram.
See you really soon.
Síguenos. Gracias por estar aquí con nosotros. Si hablas inglés, si no hablas inglés, it's been a pleasure. We'll see you all soon. Let me just...
Oh, the planilla is there.
David Planel?
Yeah, nice.
Well, welcome.
Welcome.
And we're going to... Hang on a second. I need to do that. So that's that there. And there we go. And to everybody else out there, thank you for dropping by.
Bye.
And we'll see you soon. Mañana en español. Tomorrow in Spanish. I'm sorry.
Bye.